What's up guys, welcome to another video. This one's going to be a different one. I'm going to be working on the 2-point slow here. We're doing a turbo build on the spare motor I have. So I figured I'm going to pull the bumper off this and we'll try and rice up the car a little bit. I'm going to put my intercooler on before this car's ever even turboed. You know, typical old ricer move back in the day. People used to put intercoolers on cars that were never turboed so it looked like it was turbo. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna rice it up a bit. I got this intercooler I found on Facebook Marketplace for I think I paid 40 bucks for it. We'll get the front bumper torn off. I'll show you how to remove the bumper, and also I'll show you how, since this is a GLI bumper, there's really not much difference over the Jetta bumper, but I'll show you how to remove it and how I installed this bumper onto my base model. So the first thing we're gonna have to do is we'll have to get these 4 T30s, or I'm sorry, T25s out of the grill. It's just 4 T25s holding it down, and then the grills just kind of pop down into the bumper. So once you get that out, you can just kind of pull the grill up and off. And if you have a base model Jetta, you can buy these on Amazon or eBay. It's just cheap GLI grills, and they bolt right up to your car if you want to get the honeycomb look. You can actually get the honeycomb lower piece too if you have a base model Jetta, but I opted to get the whole GLI front bumper because it's lower to the ground. It just looks a little better. So we got our T25 here on the ratchet. So then you just kind of pull the grill out, and then it should pop out the front. It kind of clips into the bumper, or the whole piece just kind of comes off there. Yeah. So you can see where it just kind of clips into the bumper with these tabs right here. So these lock into the bumper on the lower sections down here. Actually, if my hood shuts, I don't want that to explode. We'll set this off to the side. All right, so once you get that off, then you can start working on getting the sides of the bumper off and everything. There's no actual screws in the front here, although I think there may have been on the GLI, but on the base model Jetta there's not. So now we'll get the sides off. I'll get the car jacked up, and we'll start messing with those. Oh, I stalled her. Try that again. That should be good. Now what you can do is you can pull the wheels off to get to the side screws if you need to, or you can just turn the wheel. And that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna turn the wheel. So we'll start with the driver's side. You make sure you have to have the key in order to turn your wheel. Make sure you're not messing up the ramps. That should be good. So now that will give us access down inside the wheel well. All right, so now you can see we have screws down here in the wheel well we got to get to. We got one right there, one right here. Then we have one that goes up from the bottom up into the fender, and that will release the whole bumper, essentially. We also have to do some underneath, which we'll get down and make sure I don't have any on there. If you have skid plates, you'll have more. If you don't have skid plates, you'll have less to do underneath. So down underneath the car, you're gonna have a few down here. You got that one, and then there's one more down there. And then you got in the middle here, and you got another one in the middle. And then you got 3 more that are supposed to be there, but I only have 1 left. So let's get those pulled off. Oh, that's probably where my knocking comes from. The skid plate's hitting on my sway bar, or the fender liner. Should probably trim that. We'll go ahead and zap all these out. Oh, get off of there. Now these screws are pretty important. That's why I put them back in. It's because it keeps the bumper from flapping. Although the skid plate's not technically important, it does keep your engine a little dirtier, and it keeps rocks from flying up at your engine while you're going down the road. It gets stuck in your belt and stuff. And I have the skid plate somewhere. I just don't know where I put it, to be honest. Problems with having too much junk. Don't know where any of my stuff is anymore. All right. So now we're going to come down in the wheel well here. That one off. Oh, I think my battery just died. Yep. God, go figure. Be right back. All right, we got a fresh battery. So let's get the rest of this off. Oh, drill definitely has woken up. All right, so then you got one that goes up underneath. And it's also just another T25. But then the bumper should unclip. Oh, I missed one. Sorry. Then the bumper should unclip. So we got this side of the bumpers unclipped. Now we'll hop on over to the other side. I shouldn't have to turn the wheels because my wheels should still be out of the way. But let's go ahead and see if we can get that other side off. All right, so we still got the wheel kicked out. Let's go ahead and snap these ones out. Now you gotta get the one up in the bumper. Alrighty. And the bumper should unclip. We'll go around the front now and pull this sucker off. Alright, now that you got all the screws off, you got your clips pulled out the side, all that should be holding the bumper in is there's these little plastic trim pieces right here, and you can use a pry bar or like a trim clipper to disconnect them, but since mine's pretty well used and worn, it just kind of pops right out. And there we go. So our bumper's disconnected. If you have fog lights, you'll have to unplug your fog lights and stuff, but this one, I don't have any fog lights plugged in. So, bumper's off. We'll get this out of the way now. I'll show you what the clips look like. So the clips on the side here, you got these ones that just kind of push in, and then you got a screw that goes up in there. But now, it's pretty easy to get that off. It's not too difficult or too much of a problem. So now we got to mock up and see where our intercooler is going to go. We'll get my foam bumper off out of the way because we're going to use the metal bumper to attach the intercooler to. Not sure yet how we're going to go about this. So I was thinking something like this. That's probably going to stick out way too far. You know what? Whoa, don't fall off of there. Stay on. I think we should fit the bumper up and see if the bumper will clear the intercooler in that position. I think that's sticking way too far out, but let's see real quick. It might not be in the way at all. This might be way easier to install than I thought. Oh no. Oh no, our intercooler fell. Rip. So that's not gonna work. So we're probably, what I thought I was gonna have to do is unbolt these brackets I have and bolt the intercooler straight to the bottom of the bumper, right up in here. Which isn't too bad. It's not going to be fun, but you can actually access the backside. So as long as I can get the holes in the right position, I can just pretty much attach it, and then we'll relocate my, this is just your ambient temperature sensor. So this just measures the temperature outside. It doesn't inhibit the car in any way. So we'll see how we got to get this mounted up. I'm going to do a little figuring out and we'll get back to ricing up the Jetta. Alright, so we're going to have to trim off the ambient temperature sensor bracket in order to get the intercooler to sit closer back to the AC condenser. And man, no wonder why my AC condenser don't work too well. Look at how beat up the fins are on that thing. That is what 260,000 miles would do to your condenser. I should probably replace that. My AC might work better. Huh. That's pretty bad. Anyways, irrelevant stuff. Let's get the old grinder out. Snip that off. We're going to relocate the ambient temperature sensor over here to the core support. Well, what we'll do is we'll drill a hole that's that size that this plastic clip is, and then we'll plug the ambient temperature sensor in from the back, and it'll pop out right here. So it'll still be useful. Won't give the best accurate temperature, but it'll still be useful and still do its job. And there's nothing back behind the core support there that can cause any damage. So, all right, let's get the grinder out and trim that off. All right, guys, whenever you're using a grinder, make sure that you always wear your safety squints. They're going to protect your eyes. Oh, let's see how we're going to do this. Wow, look at that. Done. Out of the way. Now, we can actually get our intercooler up much closer to the radiator. Trying to figure out a centered position for that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. All right. So the next technique I have for you, when you got to find the holes to drill and you don't want to pull the bumper off because it's going to be a pain on these cars. The bumper holds the whole core support in. It's not something I want to deal with. So what I usually do is I'll get like toothpaste or RTV or paint marker or anything, and just mark these rings on where the holes need to be drilled, and then press it up to exactly the location you need it to, and then you can actually know where to drill your holes without pulling anything off. But let me go get a paint marker and we'll figure that out. So we got our little paint marker here. This is called the Paint Writer. Simple paint marker. It's a marker that's full of paint, and when you depress the tip down, the paint comes out. So you can get a good splotch of paint if it's not dried up. This one might be pretty dried up. Come on, paint marker. Let's go. There we go. Now we're getting some splatters. There we go. I want a good, healthy amount of paint, almost kind of dribbling off of it. This will help you mark where you need to be. All right, get this centered up to about where we want it. All right, worked pretty good. It's probably not centered at all, but you know, who cares, right? So we got our paint marker here, we need a drill, and one right there. So now we'll go get the drill, and then we'll drill these holes out and work on getting this intercooler mounted up. How about you leave a comment down below, tell me what your favorite electric tool is. I know people like to argue and fight over them. Mine's clearly DeWalt. I don't care what anybody says. This DeWalt grinder is my favorite tool. DeWalt's the best for a reason. DeWalt, sponsor me, please. I need sponsorship. I'm broke. I'm putting intercooler on a non-turbo card. All right, so after accepting defeat to the drill bits and having to do it off camera because it was getting so frustrating, getting metal splinters, very nice, fun stuff. We got our intercooler mounted up. Intercooler mounted up. Seems like it's a little bit low, but we'll have to see. I have some tricks that if it's too low, if I got to pull these back out and bend the bumper up with a jack, we'll see. I don't know what I'm going to do. That's kind of ghetto, but let's see how this bumper fits on with this on there now. If it fits on. There's a little bit of a clearance down there, so it might fit just fine. Who knows? Useless builds. The ghetto fabulous GL lie. These clips are not wanting to work on this side. Might be because the front of the bumper is too far pulled out. Let's see though. All right, that side seems to fit. That side seems to fit. Looks like our front mount fits. That's surprising. Can barely tell it even has a front mount intercooler on it. Can you see anything on the camera? I don't think so. Huh. Well, our riced out Jetta begins. It's hot, gross. I need like a 2-liter bottle of water, but our riced out intercooler is mounted. So I gotta pull the bumper back off, mount up the ambient temperature sensor. That one will be super easy. Should I put couplers on the end of it? I should probably tape up the holes so no dirt daubers move in there, right? If I do plan on using that in the future. We'll just put like a glove over it and zip tie it or something. Extra cheesy and ghetto. Just how we like it. It fits. That's all I needed to know. So let's get the rest of this done. Make sure, kids, you want to double glove it. You don't want any unwanted children. Whatever critters are in there are now permanently in there, because this has been sitting in my garage for a couple weeks now. But this is my motivation to continue on the turbo build, because people want to see this thing turboed. And I'm one of those people. Bam Bambino. I'm just kind of guessing. I don't even know if that's the right size or not. Oh wow, that's pretty good size actually. Might be just perfect. Or it might just be not perfect enough. Oh man. Waller out that hole a little bit. Come on, baby. Get in there. Hey, there it is. That's what we like to see. Cool. Wire's all tucked up out of the way. Intercooler's pretty firm. It ain't really moving anywhere. It's nice. Let's say we're done under here. Now it's like a real GLI. It's got an intercooler. Or I should say intercooler. Nice. Oh, let me get all these screws back in and I'll be right back. How's it look, guys? Does it look good and riced? It's a nice rice baby. You can barely even see it. You can kind of see it if I zoom in. It's very fitting that it's got the GLI body kit to make it look like it's really a GLI. Well, there's my real GLI. But, cool. That was probably the easiest install of any intercooler I've ever installed. If I had to do that on a regular base model Jetta bumper, that would not have worked that easily because the Jetta bumpers don't come down as low and they don't have that much space in the front. But since it's got a GLI bumper, that thing fit in there perfectly like it belonged. And by the way, that intercooler was custom made for a B5 Passat. I took a shot on it to see if it would work, and I'm happy to say it works. Best $40 I ever spent. That's a lie. $40 to make my car heavier and slower and riced out because it's still not turbo yet. With that being said, it's very hot out. I gotta stop being lazy and I need to go do the yard work in my yard. So I gotta go pull my lawnmower out, replace the lawnmower blades, and get to cutting my crappy yard because it looks out of control. But make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment down below and tell me how riced out that is. I feel like nobody posts rice anymore on YouTube, man. When I was younger, they used to be the funnest videos to watch. Was like Haggard Garage when they were doing the rice stuff, Ricer Miata. Man, those were good times. Don't get that stuff anymore.